one conception that people have, especially in the Christian world and the atheist movement, is that, and I suspect many people in religious Jewish circles as well, is that the God of the Bible, of the Hebrew Bible, is a vengeful, punishing God. I mean, you look in Richard Dawkins' The God Delusion, the way he describes the God of the Bible being the worst of all, the most punishing. When you look at the floods and the way he treats the people of Sodom, and the way that he talks about punishing and being very vengeful. And Christians say that's what the New Testament's about. It's about replacing that, and now we have a God of love. It's quite easy to understand how this conception developed, because you just start reading the text. But why is it a misconception? Why is this not the way that we should be reading the text of the Bible?
Mm-hmm. So it's a good question, and probably a larger issue than we have time to fully develop here. But let me give you an example. So first of all, I'll say this, that I can't pretend to have all the answers for everything. So I'll give you my personal way of looking at this. And I'll also tell you that, to me, one of the things that a person does, I believe, sort of in a mature approach to the Bible, is part of coming to the Bible without preconceptions is also coming to the Bible with a healthy sense of awe. And a healthy sense of awe means I don't understand it now. I don't understand it all now. And I don't have an expectation to understand it all in a year from now or in 5 years from now. But the text is a text that I can fall in love with, and a text is a text that I can be in awe of in reflection of the God that's behind it. So I would lie to you if I don't tell you I have questions that bother me about the Bible, that over time, right, I begin to understand, oh, that's what's going on. That's what's going on. So I'll share with you a personal example. One of the great examples of a vengeful God in the Bible is the Al-Qaeda, right? God comes and tells Abraham to take his child to the top of a mountain, then kill him. Just kidding, right? So what's that about?
Jokes.
Right? It's like, try telling that to your 9-year-old kid as a bedtime story. It doesn't work so well, right? Mommy, are you gonna, like, what is this about?
Yeah.
Are you gonna take me to the top of the mountain and kill me too?
And he's commended for it.
And he's commended for it. And it's a knotty problem. And generations of philosophers have struggled with it. And Kant has struggled with it. And Kierkegaard has struggled with it. And how do we sort of deal with it? So I think that if you look at it from the Bible's perspective, if you follow the clues, the language clues, you begin to get some sense of what's going on. First of all, it's clear from the Bible that Abraham is to be commended and not condemned for what he's done, right? The angel comes out and says, not Abraham, you fool, what were you doing? But lo chasachta ben chayichid chamimeni, you didn't withhold your son, the son that you love from me. Strange,
Good job.
Right? Good job.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what's that about? But if you listen carefully to that language, lo chasachta ben chayichid, you didn't withhold your son from me, almost as if, and the analogy I give and this is, I'm giving you an analogy for sort of a way that you look at something that seems like a vengeful God, but there's another way to see it. Think about when the Al-Qaeda happens. It's not any old person. It's not just anybody. It's Abraham who is asked to do this with reference to Isaac. Why wasn't it Jacob with reference to Joseph? Why wasn't it Moses with reference to Gershom? Why wasn't it Devorah with reference to her kids? Why isn't it you and I? Why was it specifically Abraham with reference to Isaac? It's a good question. Who is Isaac in the larger scheme of things?
The second
generation.
The second generation.
The first child of a forefather.
Of the Jewish people, yeah.
Of the Jewish people. So what's that about? Second, look at that language. Lo chasachta ben chayichid. You didn't withhold your child from me. I can't even believe you did that. You didn't even withhold your child from me. The language is almost, and I'm going to borrow the language of a custody battle. Imagine you would have a battle between two parents who got divorced, right? And there would be a temptation, and they have some sort of custody agreement, right? But, the father has some kind of birthday and wants his kid to be there, but it's really the mother's night, right? And he says, you know what? No, it's mommy's night, and I'm giving it a mommy tonight. I'd love to have you here, but it's really her night. And you can ask the mommy, say, I can't believe you let go of the son that you love. Lo chasachta et bencha yechid minei. You didn't even withhold this child from me, this child that you love. I'm really impressed that you did that in a sort of amicable divorce kind of scenario. I wonder if there's not a custody battle going on here. If custody battle is actually a very good analogy for what's going on. If you think about it, there really is one. Imagine a custody battle between a husband and wife who get divorced over a child. It's a terrible thing. Imagine a court has to decide the battle. You never want to decide between a mother and a father as to who should get the child. They're both parents of the child. Who should get the child? So what does the court, on what basis does the court make its decision? So you might say, well, the court decides on the basis of
the more competent parent.
The more competent parent. But you would argue, well, in a world of din, in a world of absolute justice, what is the most fundamental principle of justice that you possibly could use to decide a custody battle? So you might say, well, it's what's better for the child. Yes, that's true, but not in a world of justice. In a world of justice, it's who does the child belong to? Who has the stronger claim on the child? Now, if I had to ask you, male or female, mother or father, if you knew nothing else about this, who would you and you had to decide, you can only give the child to one, who would you say has the stronger claim on the child?
I think I'd say the female.
Why?
Because the child lived inside the female
right.
for 9 months.
The father's contribution to the child is fleeting. The mother's contribution to the child is ongoing. She was literally the home for the child. Her body formed the child. All the enzymes are by. We can't make an artificial womb. There's no way to do it. Even afterwards, she nurses the child. Just biologically, she is the fundamental parent, right? More so than they need. And I think that's one of the reasons why society after society after society will tend to favor the female in custody battles with males. Women tend to win those battles. There's a reason for it, right? Okay, now imagine a three-way custody battle. The Rambam says, Maimonides says, that there are actually three partners in the creation of a child. There's God, there's the mother, and there's the father. Now let me ask you, if there was ever a three-way custody battle, because usually there's not. Usually God is like, no, you have the kid. Fine, I'm giving him to you. Mother, father, enjoy the kid. But what if God would ever assert his rights? What if God would ever say, no, actually, I would like him now. He's mine. Could you please return him to heaven? I would like the child. And imagine a court that would actually have to sit in justice and then decide, okay, who's the fundamental parent around here, right? If you were the judge, who would you award the child to? Who is the most parent of all?
Obviously God.
Why?
God is constantly breathing the life force into the child.
Sure, and even from a scientific perspective, you'd say to the mother, so you're the fundamental parent. Okay, so I get it, you have a womb. You figured out the biochemistry there. Like you made your womb, you know how it all works. You were gifted a womb. You were just the vehicle. That's all you were. You were a vehicle for the child, right? The one who made it all work, the magic behind it all is God. Without God, it all crumbles, right? God is the fundamental father of all of humanity. And if God would ever say, I want the child back, he's got the right. So
but we're putting the child through pain, like slaughtering Isaac.
Yes and no, maybe, right? But give him back. So the way you go back to the next world is you got to die. So yes, so it's scary, but I want him back. So it's always scary, right? When the kid's having a good time with the mother, you have to go to father, the kid's going to cry and say, no, I want to stay with mommy, but it's time to go to father, right? So it's a regular custody battle, right? Now you have to ask, well, why? Why would God ever assert his rights? Only to say no kidding, right? But it's almost as if God's saying, I want it on the record that we all agreed that I was the fundamental parent around here. That's what the Al-Qaeda was about. It's the beginning of the Jewish people. And what God is saying is, what is this nation really about, right? You're having a child. Whose child is that? Whose nation is this? This is a nation unlike every other nation. This isn't a nation where Alexander the Great comes along and decides he's conquering all the land and everyone is Alexandrians from then on, right? This is a nation that's devoted to an ideal, to propagating God's values in the world. And therefore, to some extent, God is actually seeing himself as father of the nation. And therefore, it's not a coincidence that it's Isaac. It's the first child of this nation. It's God saying, just putting it out there, who's the real father around here? right? That I take possession of this nation. It's mine. It's there to do what I want to be done in the world. And that's what you're doing when you join the nation of Israel, or you're a participant in the nation of Israel. So here's a way of seeing something that at face value just looks like the vengeful God. But if you follow the clues, sometimes vengefulness masks a deeper kind of mystery. So it's one example, but I think in other cases that obtains as well.
Oh, that was incredible.
Okay.
This is just a nugget for all the kind of stuff you can get on Aleph Beta. So it's very, very important for if people kind of want to hear more of this kind of stuff that they should go to your website.